we had talked a lot about the fallen angels and the gods, lower G gods, and how they came about and what they're doing now. So just wanted to go a little bit deeper into that. We talked about like where their final resting place is. So I wanted to clarify basically these two categories of beings. So there are angels, but then they're sometimes referred to as gods. I mean, there's all kinds of angels and types and positions, but just the two that we're going to talk about are the watcher angels that are talked about in Genesis 6 and throughout Enoch. And then there's the gods. These are angels, but they are put into a higher position and authority, and God calls them, they're often called sons of God, but they're put into position over nations during the time of the Tower of Babel. And Deuteronomy 32 talks about it a little bit, but in Psalms 82, God is confronting them, and he says, "You are gods, all of you, and like men you shall die." Psalm 82 is a short one, go check it out, but basically God is judging these gods for failing to do their job and leading people astray, and basically these are the rebellious angels. The watcher angels, they sinned, they committed a crime. These are the ones that came down to Mount Hermon and committed this sin with the daughters of men, and this is where the giants come from. So there's two categories, watcher angels and the fallen angels, the gods. So these first 200 watcher angels, these are the ones that descended on Mount Hermon and committed these sins with human women. I'm just going to read some of the notes that I have. The watchers who sinned by cohabiting with human women are currently imprisoned in a place of darkness to await final judgment. Now, there's some other references to this, like in 2 Peter, where it states that God cast them into hell, which is Tartarus in the Greek, same place, and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept there until the judgment. Jude also talks about this same place and the eternal chains in deepest darkness for the judgment of the great day. And this is the abyss, basically. And so also you'll see some verses in 1 Enoch chapters 14 and 19 where it talks about these angels will be on the earth forever. It will be their eternal resting place. But then in chapter 22, it says that they will be sent to the lake of fire. So basically, they're in this place on the earth. It's in this gloomy darkness place, and they will be judged and then thrown into the lake of fire in the end, along with Satan and the other angels who went with him. First of all, it kind of implies that this Tartarus place, this dark place that they're being held, is on the earth, because it says that they are destined to be on earth forever. Now, that brings up, question number 2 is, well, why does it say forever if they're going to then go to the lake of fire? But when we look at the word forever in the Bible, words translated as forever or everlasting often refer to an age or a specific duration, though they can also mean eternity, depending on the context. The word olam in Hebrew, it means concealed or vanishing point. It refers to a time so distant and it is hidden from view, whether in the past or in the future. And in the Greek, it is aeon, where we get the word eon in English. It originally referred to a human lifetime or a specific age. And in the New Testament, it often contrasts this age with this age to come. So in other words, this forever has an end in this context. So it's the forever of an age, this entire age, that this particular thing is going to happen. So in other words, these angels will be bound to this pit, this abyss, forever until the end of the age. And then they will be judged and placed into hell. So I hope that just clarifies some things. I know it did for me, because I was a little confused about it too. So just looked into it a little bit more to try to get some clarity. And so the 200 angels that fell and committed the sin with human women, they are currently in the pit. in the abyss, a place called Tartarus. Now, the gods, these are the angels of higher position, whom God placed in authority over the nations. Some of them rebelled after the fact. These gods are still there. They are not placed anywhere yet. I don't know why exactly. That's just something we don't know. But these other gods are still over the nations of the world. I had talked earlier about Moloch being over America, in my opinion. That's an example. He's still there. He's still in operation. He's still accepting sacrifices. But one of the other things that I mentioned was about Satan going into the pit alone. So during the millennial reign, at the beginning of the millennial reign, Satan is thrown into the abyss, right? It's probably this same place, Tartarus. It could be a different place, but I think it's probably the same place, in which case those angels are probably there. What I was kind of getting into or implying was that it seems to me the millennial reign, I have a little bit of a different take, I guess, on what the earth looked like or will look like, depending on your position, during the millennial reign. I kind of think it's going to be a little more like normal everyday life than it is heaven-like. I know I have always kind of envisioned the millennial reign to be like heaven, but I don't know why we get that. People are still here on the earth. People are still doing things, building things. It just seems like life is normal. And Satan is the only one who is depicted as being removed. He's the only one who's put in the pit, which means these gods over the nations are still there. And for that matter, the demons, which are the spirits of the giants, they're bound to earth as well. They were never actually thrown into a pit as far as I remember. So demons would have still been on the earth, and they still are today. So we get this idea that the millennial reign was something that was like perfect and heavenly, but I think that we, even human beings on the earth, were the same. We're still human. We still have free will. We still have a choice, which means we still have the potential to sin. You could say that about the angels in the beginning, way back when. They had a choice. They had free will. When we think of heaven as being perfect in a place of no sin, but there's a potential to sin, like in the angels in that case. Or if the millennial reign, or even in the future kingdom, in the New Jerusalem, when the New Jerusalem comes down, we're in this new world on this new earth, this transformed earth. It's the same earth, it's just transformed. From the old passes away, this new world has new physics. This is what we call heaven. Our view of heaven is what we think of as where our dead relatives go, but that's not our final resting place. We're not spending eternity in heaven. We're spending our eternity here on earth with Jesus, in the new world, in the New Jerusalem. And this is just a different version of earth. Earth was created to be our home. It always was, and it always will be, in my opinion. And like I mentioned in the episode, potentially the same thing could happen in the future in the new kingdom, because there is that place outside the gates where the immoral and evil things reside. And finally, one final thought that I want to dive into a little deeper. We asked this question in the video. It was, are there any good lower G gods left? God puts these angels into a position. He has his divine council. He calls them gods. And then he places some over the nations to kind of rule and manage things. And some rebelled. And we always think of gods, the lower G gods, as evil. But surely not everyone fell and rebelled. Are there any examples of a good god left? Lower G god. I only know of one, and that would be Michael. In the book of Enoch, in chapter 20, it lists 7 archangels and their positions and what they do, and Michael is listed there, and he is put in charge of the firstborn, or the nation of Israel. And so I would assume, I know that was written a long time ago, I don't know of any other more recent texts that would reiterate that. As far as I know, Michael is still on the good side. I think he's probably still over Israel, or something like that. Of course, there's always the possibility that positions changed or maybe moved from here to there, replaced with someone else. That's always possible. Don't really have any, written text about that. But I think Michael is an example of a God that still exists, an angel of position that still exists and has not rebelled and is still on the good side. And so there's probably many, but I think, as far as I know, that's probably the only one that we really know of.